A major shift is happening in one of the most talked about London-based romance dramas right now, and this update changes everything we thought we knew about the story. What once felt like a private, almost hidden relationship is now being pushed into a much bigger and far more complicated world. The latest reveal confirms that this next chapter is going beyond the comfort zone of luxury and secrecy, and stepping into a reality where pressure, ambition, and outside influence start to reshape everything. At the center of it all, Nick and Noah are no longer just fighting for their love. They're fighting to understand who they are when they're not standing right next to each other. As their lives begin to branch out, we see a completely different dynamic forming. Nick is stepping into a version of himself that is driven, focused, and deeply tied to success. His world is becoming more structured, more demanding, and filled with expectations that don't leave much room for emotional chaos. On the other side, Noah is experiencing something equally transformative, but in a quieter, more personal way. She's building a life that isn't defined by anyone else, discovering independence and new perspectives that slowly begin to shift how she sees her past and her future. But here's where things start to unravel. Distance doesn't just create longing, it creates space for change. And in that space, new connections begin to form. For Nick, there's someone who enters his world with confidence and precision, someone who understands the environment he's in and knows how to navigate it flawlessly. Her presence isn't loud or dramatic, but it's steady and intentional, and that makes her influence even more powerful. She represents a version of life that feels aligned with his goals, and that alone makes things dangerously complicated. Meanwhile, Noah finds herself drawn into a completely different kind of connection. It's not built on intensity or unpredictability, but on understanding and emotional balance. The person she meets offers something she's never really had before, a sense of calm and clarity. And while that might sound like a good thing, it creates a conflict that runs deeper than anything she's faced before. Because now she's not just comparing two people, she's comparing two versions of herself. As both of them navigate these new realities, the story begins to expand beyond just their relationship. The world around them becomes more layered, filled with ambition, hidden motives, and situations that demand difficult choices. What used to be a story driven by emotion now includes strategy, risk, and consequences that reach far beyond their personal lives. Every decision starts to feel like a turning point, and the tension builds in a way that keeps everything on edge. One of the most anticipated moments teased so far revolves around a high-profile event that brings all the key players into the same space. It's the kind of setting where everything looks perfect on the surface, but underneath there's a storm waiting to break. This is where truths are revealed, alliances are tested, and emotions that have been building quietly finally come to the surface. It's not just a dramatic moment, it's a defining one that could change the direction of everything. What makes this chapter stand out is how it challenges the idea of love being enough. Nick and Noah aren't just dealing with feelings anymore, they're dealing with timing, growth, and the reality that people don't always evolve in the same direction. The connection they share is still strong, but it's being pulled in different directions by everything happening around them. And for the first time, it feels like they might not be able to control where things are heading. There's also a growing sense that this story is building towards something much bigger. Instead of wrapping things up neatly, it feels like it's setting the stage for an even more intense continuation. That means the ending of this chapter isn't going to be simple or satisfying. It's going to leave a mark. The kind that makes you question everything and keeps you thinking long after it's over. As we look ahead, the uncertainty is what makes it so compelling. Will they find a way back to each other, stronger and more certain than ever? Or will the changes they're going through lead them down completely different paths? One thing is clear, this isn't just another chapter in their story. It's a turning point that will define everything that comes next.